Good morning. So can you repeat after me? Uwe Steinmetz. Nice work. Welcome, Uwe Steinmetz. Okay, one of our guests today is Uwe Steinmetz, this man of many instruments. And you will hear from him again on Wednesday and then throughout the Bonhoeffer Conference, because his piece on Wednesday will be performed here, Stations on the Road to Freedom. It's an amazing piece featuring New York actor and Wheaton graduate Christopher Domag, and well, I know you're going to be here anyhow, so it'll be a great pleasure to share that music, and we're so glad to have Uwe sitting in with this chapel as well. Uwe is from Berlin. He's a saxophonist, plays other instruments. He's a great Christian man, and I've spent enough time with him over this weekend that my heart is burned within me because of fellowship with him and because of hearing his testimony. I hope you'll look for an opportunity to meet him this week. And then, of course, words defy, Ken Medema defies description. To say he's a pianist is not to say enough. To say he's a singer, a Helden tenor, is not to say enough. An organist, a composer, a lyricist, an improviser. He creates lyrics out of thin air. There's just so much to say about Ken, and he's been a friend for 30 years. Ken possesses a unique prophetic inner sight. But as you may know, he lacks physical sight. All of us that know Ken have our favorite stories about Ken, but I want to tell you my favorite one briefly, and that is that when he and Dean Best were riding in Dean Best's Chevy Camaro across Blanchard parking lot, and Ken Medema was driving. It's true.
It's scary but fun.
And so today we have this wonderful pleasure to have him here. He's going to be around South Party Room for lunch. If you're interested in a one-on-one with Ken talking about music, improvisation, lyrics, see the Susan Brinkman in the conservatory office. He's going to be available also in an informal time during chapel time tomorrow at 10:35. Again, check with Susan Brinkman for information about that, and you're all welcome to participate. For now, please welcome Ken Medema.
It was very early. The sun wasn't up yet. But you could hear a song. It reverberated off the clouds. It seemed to start in the stars somewhere. You could hear it echoing off the galaxies, the spiral nebulae. It seemed to bounce back and forth among the stars, sung by what seemed like 1,000,000,000,000,000 billion thousand voices. And it may have been something like this. Rise up, my love. The night at last is over. Wake from your sleep. The time of trial is done. Rise up and sing. The shadows all are vanquished. The morning wakes. Come greet the rising sun. All nature sings to wake you from your slumber. Creation waits to hear your answering call. Those cruel stripes once laid upon your shoulder shall be a sign of hope for one and all. Long was the night, and the darkness seemed unending. Hope went a-weeping, and love was all forlorn. Now comes the dawn, and all the trees are bending to be the first to greet you on this dawn. Rise up, my love, and greet your weeping children. Dry all their tears and send their fears away. Easter dawn shall be their lasting story. Teach them the steps to dance into the day. Rise up, my love, this dawn will be their story. Them the steps to dance into the day. Christ the Lord is risen today. Amen, amen. All creation joins to say, amen, amen. Amen, amen. Sing ye heavens and earth reply, amen, amen. Now you know it. Sing it with us. Verse 2. Love's redeeming work is done. Amen, amen. Oh, fought the fight, the battle won. Amen, amen. Death in vain, reverting rise. Amen, amen. Oh, Christ is open paradise. Amen, amen. Verse 3, go! Glorious King. Amen, amen. Amen, amen. Ha! Amen, amen. Oh, amen, amen. it now. Amen. Be seated. So it's Sunday afternoon, and we're on our way home. Won't be long before it's dark, and you want to get home before the darkness comes. I guess the dream was a whole lot more fragile than we thought. We knew he was dangerous, but God, we didn't know they'd kill him. I guess in your day, you'd say life sucks. Now we're on our way home with only fragile, broken dreams. The one we trusted, the one we believed in, the one we walked with for all these days is gone now. Some of our women said he might be alive again, but everybody knows things like that just don't happen. Enter one stranger. Excuse me, says stranger, may I join this conversation? What are you all talking about, stranger says? About what happened in the city this weekend. Stranger says, what happened? Have you been living under some rock, I said, and you don't know what happened to Jesus of Nazareth? That's when everything changed. That's when we forgot the road, forgot the walking, because the talking was so, what can I say? Were you there when he joined us on the road? Were you there when he joined us on the road? there ever been a conversation in your life that was kind of a game changer? It woke you up. It made you think. There was truth in it. There was love in it. There was understanding in it. There was listening in it. There was a heart burning in it. For me, it was, there were several, but one of them was the conversation just before I went to college with a trusted guide and friend who said, Ken, you have this dream of being a classical performer and being on stage and traveling all over the world. Give it up. Do something else. I did. There was the time, I could go on, but you have conversations like that, conversations that you'll remember for a long time because they made a big difference in your life. Now is the time to turn to a couple of people around you and tell them about that conversation. You and a couple of other people have 2.5 minutes to talk about those important conversations. 1, 2, 3, go. And then there was the meal. It's almost dark now. We've been talking for all this time. Without even knowing it, we reached home. Stranger makes as if to go on. No, I said. Come stay with us tonight. Come share with us a bit of bread. Walk into the house. We didn't have much in store, just a little bit of food. Sit at the table. All at once, strangers playing host. That's not the way it goes here, but no one stops him. Stranger takes bread. Stranger breaks bread. Stranger passes bread. Stranger is gone. We look at each other. Didn't our hearts burn within us on the way? Could it be? Was he right? Is it? Were you there when he sat and broke the bread? Were you there when he sat and broke the bread? Broke the bread. Sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble. Were you there when he sat and broke the bread? Pause. My friend was a teacher. He had gotten this wonderful new job teaching at a seminary, teaching homiletics. And on the first Monday morning, he was frantically sitting in his office preparing his first lecture, and a knock came at the door. "It's Jim from across the hall. Would you like some coffee?" My friend said, "I don't drink coffee. I've got a lecture to prepare, and I'm really, really nervous." Tuesday morning, break time, 10 o'clock, a knock at the door. "It's Jim from across the hall. Would you like some coffee?" For 15 days straight, Jim from across the hall knocked on the door. "Would you like some coffee?" My friend kept saying, "I don't drink coffee." There were all these excuses. And finally, on the 16th day, on that Monday, he said, "I'll give you 10 minutes. They went to the equivalent of Sam's, and they had a cup of coffee. 5 hours later, after they had both skipped all their classes for the day, students looking in amazement at two grown men sitting there at a table crying and laughing and crying and laughing. 5 hours later, they went home, both of them having been changed. There have been conversations like that for you. You talked about a conversation like that just a minute ago. And now it's the time, this is my favorite part, this is the time when you get to help write the songs. Here's what we're going to do. We have microphones out here. And in a minute, you're going to go to a microphone and we're going to clap for you. And you're going to tell us about that conversation that was a turning point, a changing point for you, and then yours truly will do his best to turn it into song. So let me set it up. You'll tell me a story, you'll spin me a tale, you'll take me down with you along sweet, sweet memories trail. Tell me a story, and it need not be too long. And if you'll tell me a story, I will sing you your own special song. We have a storyteller. Go.
Hello. Whoa. My name is Dane, and I'm apparently going to share my life story with 1,000 people.
All right.
I was living in Kyrgyzstan several years ago, and I was a young guy who thought I was super spiritual, and I heard a word from the Lord, and he said, "Go talk to this scary man about courting his daughter." And I was terrified because he's one of those people who could look right into you and see your soul and pull out all the evil things and then go, "Ha ha!" So I went to him and I said, "God told me to court your daughter." And I spent the next 3 hours. He was sick with the flu, and Um, and I had been trying to corner him for 3 days out in the mountains. Anyway, point was, we spent the next 3 hours and he said, absolutely not. You're totally not ready. But maybe someday. Let's talk about this. And he mentored me for the next 4 years and taught me what it was to be a man.
Excuse me, if you don't mind. Excuse me, just a moment of your time. Excuse me, maybe it's okay. Excuse me, I've got something I want to say. God, at least I think it was God, told me, at least I think he told me. God told me to court your daughter. Now I got it out. How is that? I got it really out of my mouth. God told me to court your daughter. No, said the man. No way in this world you'll court my daughter. This is not the time, you are not the one. This is not the place, this is not the way. No, not in 1,000 years. But I'll tell you what, we'll talk a while. Well, I'll talk, you listen. And for the next 4 years, through all the joy and through all the tears, he was here and I was here, and my heart burned within me on the way. It was Emmaus, and we broke verbal bread together. It was Emmaus, and it was wonderful. Scary man made my heart burn within me on the way. We have time for one more story. Who is it? Who's going to be that conversation? Who's doing that?
Hey, I'm Jay. I was walking downtown Wheaton, whatever that means. I was going to get to a Caribou Coffee, and I was talking to God this morning. I was just like, God, I'm in Dr. Root's evangelism class, and I'm like, I've been on campus this whole week, and I don't know, I haven't been able to share the gospel with anyone. And that's one of our assignments. It's share the gospel with someone once a week. And it's always been one of my biggest fears, because I'm always afraid I'm going to be one of those Christians who scares people away from God or whatever. And I'm just I always hear those stories about those people who say, oh, yeah, I was religious once, but then this person in my church did this to me, or they told me this, and I just turned my back on the faith after that. So I wasn't really afraid of that, but I was like, you know what, you got to do this. And I was just praying and walking, and everyone who knows me knows I sing randomly. So just singing to myself or whatever, and just I passed this woman. She was sitting on a park bench. Actually, she was laying down. She was asleep. And I was really weird, because when I go through Wheaton, I never really see homeless people very often. So it's I'm like, oh, that was kind of interesting. So I kind of walked by, and I was thinking, what's she doing there? Now I kind of slapped myself in the head mentally, what are you doing? You're walking by this woman. She probably needs your help. So I walked back, and I said, excuse me, ma'am, can I help you, with anything? Do you need anything? Can I get you some coffee or something? And so she said yes, and I tried to introduce myself, and she told me she didn't shake hands because she's been abused in the past, and so it really kind of turned me off. I was like a little afraid, and I was like, okay, let me not scare her. So I was just like, let me just buy you some stuff from Starbucks. So I took her to Starbucks and bought her breakfast, and just like, I only had like 15 minutes with her, and she was like asking me about like school and life and everything, and I was just trying to like find a way to like share the gospel. And it was just really hard because she told me like she used to be religious, but she, like the people that she knew who were religious like had also hurt her, and I was just like, I didn't know what to do. I almost like cried in front of her. I was just like, I just sat there and like, God, tell me what to say to her. And so I kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, I told her, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. I'm so sorry that this pain is what you experienced, but there's a God like who loves you, who cares, and those people who mistreated you were not being used by the Spirit. You have a gift. It is like a gift at your door, and there's no strings attached. There's no monthly fee. There's nothing else. It's just waiting at your door, like for you to open it. And there is a God who loves you, who cares for you, and who died on the cross for you. And if you were the only person in the world, he would do it for you. And I asked her, could I give her my Bible and this tract that I had? And she didn't take the Bible because it was too heavy. She's traveling light or whatever. So handed it to her, and she took the tract, and she was listening to what I was saying. She still didn't seem like she was very receptive, but I was just like, I told her I would be praying for her. And so it just kind of broke my heart just to walk away thinking, I may never see this woman again, but I pray that God like puts someone else in her life who will like lead her to himself, even if that isn't me. So that was my story.
I'm on the way to share the gospel. I've got to find a willing victim, someone who will sit and listen to me for a while. You know, I sing all the time to myself. I'm walking down the street, humming a tune. I've got to find someone who will let me talk. I've got to share the gospel with somebody. I've got to make my assignment. I got to do it right now. I've got no time to wait. I got to share this wonderful word. Lord, lead me to someone somehow. Oh, I'm on my way to share the gospel. There she is, the woman who doesn't want my Bible, the woman who is not really interested in all that I have to say, the woman who leaves me with a broken heart, tears in my eyes. Maybe that's just where it all begins. Broken heart and tears in the eyes. Maybe the Bible is just too heavy. All she really wants is my broken heart. Maybe that's where it all begins. A broken heart and tears in the eyes. You see? Wish we had time for more stories, but here's the point. Here's the whole point. Because Christ lives in you, and because Christ lives in me, you and I are called to be the stranger on the road who speaks the truth, the word of hope, the word of help, the word of peace, the word of caring, and you and I are called to be the listener whose hearts burn within us on the road. And here's the deal. Any road you walk could be the road to Emmaus. Any conversation could be the conversation to make your heart burn. And any bread you share can be the bread broken at that table. So stand to your feet, and we'll walk out of this place. As we hear sing, we'll walk out of here. Always eyes open and ears open for the stranger, the friend, the comrade who speaks the word of truth. For any road you walk can be the road to Emmaus. We'll sing, you walk. We're done. Were you there when he joined us? Any road can be the road to Emmaus. Any conversation is the one to make your heart burn. Any bread you break can be the bread at that table. And the walking and the talking and the eating. Love shows up. Love shows up. Christ shows up. Any road, any bread, any table, any time, anywhere. Were you when you joined us? Any road you walk, any conversation, any bread you break, in the walking and the talking and the eating, oh, that's where love shows up. Love shows up. Christ shows up. Any road, any table, any bread, any time, anywhere. We'll sing it one more time. Oh, any road you walk, any conversation you may have. Oh, meet your sands and we'll break some bread. In the walking and the talking and the eating, it's where love shows up. Love shows up. Christ shows up. And you